Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Is everyone rested well?
Um,
Definitely.
I'm tired after just seeing that headline. I'm exhausted.
That's a little bit of a teaser on what we're going to talk about today. Um, I would love, Jason, for you to open up with what this comes from a posting that you put out there on LinkedIn.
Yeah, so I was reading about the Amex CEO, and he talked about how much he worked in terms of getting up at 4:30, working out, and then he starts his job at 5:30 and doesn't go to bed until 11:30, and that's because of meetings and planning and then looking at emails all day long. And he was
Hmm.
saying basically he works nonstop and he's always working. And he talked about essentially the incredible work ethic that he puts in. He didn't mention that he also made what 40 million in stock for the previous year. So which helps you work really, really hard when you get 40 million in stock. And so he was holding himself up as an example of this is what you really need to do to be successful. And I posted about that on LinkedIn and I said, do we really think that this is the right example? If everybody worked this amount of hours, do you think that most of us would receive the kind of financial success that he's received, or we would have or even a modicum of more success than we're having now? And everybody basically said no, they didn't think that was correct.
Mm-mm.
And I had about 5,000 people that chimed in or looked at it or had something to say about the conversation. And virtually everyone was in disagreement that actually was a viable model and that most CEOs and people in high level positions are outliers, that they just do things more, they just do things differently than others. And so that was really the extent of it. So, and I was surprised by how much that was of interest to people. People really were all over that.
Yeah, and I think it's also folks have become much more uh, I would say, concerned or about their work-life balance, and especially after COVID. I mean, after you know, uh,
Hmm.
you know, many people who were on the road all the time, kind of ignoring their family, except for the weekends, really got to spend time with their loved ones, and have and realize, you know what? I mean, what am I doing? I'm missing out on all of this great
Right.
family time. Uh, and they got to get it for for almost 2.5 years of being locked in or locked down, and I think that has even enhanced the, like Jason said, the people's feelings about you know, overworking and giving too much of their limited time to a job.
And I think I saw several comments that I can completely identify with is
Hmm.
when you miss an opportunity in life, it's gone. That time is gone.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I've been the culprit of working far, far, far too many hours. And looking back, I think, gosh, that's a soccer practice that my daughter did, a soccer game, a school event that after about 3 months, I realized I am missing all of this, and there's no going rewinding.
Yeah, exactly.
You can't get that time back. Once it's done, and no amount of money can make up for that. No title can make up for that, and it makes me wonder. I think probably maybe it's typical in his type of role, but then it's also time management. Is your time being used?
Hmm.
Um, it's not about the quantity; it's really about the quality.
Yep. Yep.
Well,
So true.
the other thing is you have to be able to be okay with making a bet, so that if you're going to work that much, you're betting that you're going to have an outcome that's going to be the way that you want it to be. And
Mhm.
so, meaning I'm going to put in this many hours, I'm going to work this hard, and I'm going to get to the point that I believe I am, trying to get to, that I'm trying to attain. And so the problem is you don't have any guarantees that you're going to get to that point. So you could very well, work all those hours and spend all that time, and something could happen. You could have the board could swap out, or you could have somebody who is a advocate of yours in the organization leave, and other people come into power in the organization who maybe don't like you, and all that time that you put in is gone, and it's something
Yeah.
changes. So you've got to feel really comfortable that this is the right decision for me. And if something changes, I'm going to be okay with that. But I think a lot of people aren't comfortable with saying, "Oh my God, I'm going to, sacrifice my soul for this," and I'm not even really sure something good's going to happen.
Yeah,
Mhm.
very true. I mean, I was meeting with a kind of a senior HR leader yesterday, of a, yeah, this is an organization that's got, the majority of their employees are under 40. I think she said 85% of their employees are under 40. Um, and and basically she said, my employees are really good about taking care of themselves and speaking up for themselves.
Mm.
They want, clear goals and objectives. They want a development plan. They want regular feedback. They want to have a balance between, time in the office and personal time. Uh, you know, so they're, and they're very open to providing feedback. So, that's the norm in most organizations. Whereas 10, 20 years ago, it was more about, hey, I got to be in the office, before 8, and I'm going to make sure I don't leave, until 5:30, and that I'm, people see that I'm, putting in the time. So it's
Mhm.
just a different environment, today, with not only the, what employees want and what employees will demand.
Almost like it's a competition. In some places I've worked, I felt like not a competition, but all eyes are on you. So if I get, just like you said, Ray, if I get here before everyone else, I leave after everyone else. So that makes me a better employee when really, in my opinion, it's the opposite.
Hmm. Yeah. No, I think that's exactly it. I think, you know, one of the questions is, what do you need to do to be successful? And it's not about, you know, spending, the most amount of time in the office. It's really about, being productive,
Mhm.
and being efficient in what you do and delivering your results. You got to kick butt in your day-to-day work, to be, to be successful.
Yes, that's true. I mean, you've got to do the work, and you've got to have the some degree of people skills to make things happen,
Hmm.
and you have to, make sure that you're effective. Just because you're putting in long hours doesn't necessarily mean that, that's going to happen. But, I think that if you were somewhat assured, hey, I'm going to put in long hours and I'm going to make 10, 20, $30 million in stock, I bet you a lot of people would sign up for that. They
Hmm.
would say, yeah,
Yeah.
heck yeah. It's just the whole, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know that this is really going to make me rich, and this is really going to make me successful. And I think that if you are more of entrepreneurial and you work those kind of hours, at least you're betting on yourself and you're betting on your idea or your company. And that's pretty cool. I think you can feel a little bit better about that sometimes. But when you're internal to a company, there's so many things that can happen. There's so many things
Hmm.
that can wash you out that it's a difficult situation.
And
No, it is.
yeah,
It is.
it's a trickle down effect. If this CEO is working those hours, does that trickle down to the next level, down to the next level? And I even saw, I think it was a post on LinkedIn. Someone posted they went in for an interview at 7:30 p.m., which I get. You're working during the day, you interview at night, and she made a comment that everyone was still in the office.
Hmm.
Everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
they
says
probably
something.
know you don't want to be there.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to be there.
Yeah. No, I think the other thing that I've seen in kind of today's world, on how you get ahead, I think one of the things is, it's about volunteering and help and trying to help out, pitching in when you can, with your team, to have a reputation as somebody who kind of is a team player and will take on additional work if that's what the team needs them to do. Uh, And then the other thing too is, it's good to do that, but you've also got to be visible. You have to have that visibility to the decision makers, because if you don't, then you're just working a bunch of hours, kind of in a cubicle, and nobody knows about you. So it's self promotion. It's not always a good thing, but you really do have to do it yourself, because if you don't do it yourself, nobody's going to do it for you. Uh, so I think that's really important. And then the other one that I think is really changed over the last 15, 20 years, is to ask for it. If you want a promotion, ask for it. If you want a raise, ask for it. If you want more responsibility, ask for it. Because um, a lot of times, when we started working, we were told, "Hey, you just need to work hard, and you will be recognized, and you will be chosen. Somebody will tap you on the shoulder for the next job." Well, that doesn't work anymore. That's just not the way things work, and I think that folks have got to be a lot more aggressive from a career perspective.
Oh, totally
Definitely.
agree. Yeah, I mean, you gotta fish or cut bait a lot sooner. I mean, you just don't sit
Mm.
there going. I mean, I worked at a company once, and they were talking about, well, how do I get to VP here? And they're like, well, getting to be VP here is basically you're on a journey, and we don't know how long the journey is going to last. And there's different things that you're going to deal with in this journey as you try to stay here and get to VP. And I said to myself, "What? I'm not on a journey. I mean, my life is a journey, but working here is not a journey. I mean, tell me, do you see me getting there? Or do you see me not getting there?" And so I don't necessarily, need some sort of, storybook overview. And that's basically like, okay, I'm going to go out and prove it on my own and go get what I need somewhere else. And so that's the whole thing. Like, you just don't know, and you don't want to be in a situation where the unknowns are too great. And like you said, Ray, you have to ask, like, am I going to get it here? If not, I'm out, bye. And
Hmm.
that's cool. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. No harm, no foul. You just don't see it in me, and I didn't see it here. So that's the thing. I think you're making a good point about, is asking. You got to ask, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, and I think the days of uh, you graduate from college, you join a company, and you're there for 27, 30 years, and then you retire.
Mm-hmm.
That just doesn't happen anymore. I mean, I think the
No.
norm now is 10 plus you know companies or different jobs that you do in a career is very normal. And I think that the same discussion I was having yesterday, it's like you know in, people work in an industry, or they work in a function. They don't work in a company for all that. I mean, they're it's you're bringing your skills and your abilities to a company, or to an organization, and they've got to at the same time provide you you know
Hmm.
an opportunity to learn, to grow, to develop, and to get compensated at market for your skills.
Sure. Yeah, totally. That makes sense.
Yeah. So I think folks have got to take a different approach in how they manage their careers. And if you don't have a really good development plan that you put together for yourself, shame on you. You've got to have that. That's so important. Uh, and don't wait for your boss to put something together, because that's just not going to happen.
I
Oh, for
think it's
sure.
yeah, and we even had this discussion. What was it last week? We talked about the placing a value on your time.
Hmm.
You know, perhaps the CEO of American Express, his hours, that value, what he's doing is worth $1 million per hour. But then we have to also think back to what's the value of our time at home
Hmm.
Yep.
and at work.
Hmm. Hmm. No, that's so true. I mean, it's all about balance. You only have a certain number of hours to dedicate, to your family, and you dedicate to your loved ones and friends, uh, as well as to work. So you've got to figure out what's that right balance for you, so that you can have a little bit more, as the new term, live your best life.
Mhm.
It's all about that balance, and being and the mental health, that's so important too. that can be a problem with overworking.
Yep.
And,
Yep.
and,
Agreed.
and we even talked about, I think this was last week. Yeah, it was last week when we had Reveal AI on. And, one of the biggest trends or the biggest things that are on people's radars is flexibility,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Yep.
Uh,
That's exactly. I think they said that the number one thing employees said about joining the organizations or being satisfied with their work was having that flexibility and being able to um, to basically manage their time, not to be micromanaged. Yeah,
yeah.
and that's really important that they can control that.
And if you're a person perhaps that works better, your brain is more awake in the evening. I even know of someone that purposely will go to the grocery store in the middle of the day. Why? Because there's no one there. You can get in
Hmm.
and out quicker than after work, and then puts in the time in the evening because that particular person does well working in the evening, or flip flop, by the way, around maybe early in the morning. But it's about that prioritization of time and getting the most done in the smallest amount of time to be, being able to place a high value on every minute of the day.
Yep.
Um, but I certainly don't think in general that working long hours equals success or equals getting a promotion.
Hmm. Nope.
It's the quality, it's the output.
Yeah, it is. It's quality of the work and making sure that people know who you are and that you're ready for, for the next move. I think that's huge.
Hmm.
And I really enjoy it because I sit here at my desk and I can see out, and there's an elementary school just down the street, so I know exactly, you know, at 7:30, all the moms and dads are walking their
Hmm.
kids to school, which is kind of cool. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
a thing to see, and a lot of these folks are working. They're working from home, or they've got flexibility where they can, go into the office a little later, and that's awesome that they can do that with their kids. So I think that's a heck of a whole lot more valuable than getting into the office, being the first one in at 7 a.m.
Hmm.
It's a lot more valuable to be able to hang out with your kids and get them to school and get them off to a good day.
Yes, you never know what's going to happen, and nobody ever regretted spending, not enough time at the office. They always regretted not spending enough time with their kids and their
Yep,
wife. So anyway,
exactly.
well, I think we put a lid on that one. Boom. So
Awesome, awesome.
awesome. All right. Well, we will all talk to you next week.
Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thanks, everyone. All right. Talk later. All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay,
Bye.
bye bye.
Bye.